Should we get started? Because we can get started. All right. So basically, bro, what I want to start with is, okay. So I've been given my talk for the Global Muslim Content Summit. Like, I've been given the title of my talk, and I wanted to riff with you on some ideas. Okay. So I value your opinion. I came to you with my first TEDx talk. I might have even come to you with my second TEDx talk. Possibly. But I enjoy your advice with these things, and I like your vision.
So you think too highly of me.
I do, yeah.
Yeah. Way undeserved.
Yeah, because as soon as you give me the advice, I'm like, no.
Yeah. Oh, now actually, I know not to do.
Yeah. That's why I ask you advice. I like it. Well, what's a bad idea, Kaya? No. So I've been giving my talk. So in next month in Malaysia, I am going to be. That sounds. Fine. In Malaysia, I'm going to be at the Global Muslim Content Summit. I'll be doing a talk on the main stage, and they have now given me my talk title, and I have to write, script, and memorize the talk.
Okay.
I don't have to. I mean, that's my process.
You like to memorize that word for word,
I like to memorize word for word. Yeah. I've done enough talks now in my 31-year life where I've realized that
31 now.
I'm 31, yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a bit of a downer.
So I've done enough talks to realize that that for me...
That's the best way.
Yeah.
For me, it makes me nervous. I don't want to get in your head. But for me,
blagging it doesn't work. And I'm a good blagger.
I can't blag it. You are a good blagger. Great blagger.
Yeah, thanks.
But for me...
You said it like such a trouble. You're a good blagger. Great blagger.
Yeah. The blaggiest. Yeah. For me, I feel pressure. If I need to memorize every word, I really feel the pressure of having to remember every single word, right? Whereas if I bullet point it a little bit, so not completely riffing it, but there's some structure, it is less pressure on me to remember every sort of sentence structure that I had previously. It's like, cool, now it's a section about talking about, the role of AI in this. I can go on that. And I can even go a bit deeper with the bullet points. But if I have it in my head where it's like every word has to be in order, it's a lot of if I miss one word, I'm suddenly panicking on stage.
That does happen.
Yeah.
But here's what I realized. I realized that like anything, the age-old saying of preparation is key is actually true.
Okay, yeah.
So if you prefer bullet points, as long as you're super prepared, as in you're knowledgeable on that topic, then bullet points is great. Yeah. And likewise, if you prefer memorizing word for word, if you're super prepared, i.e. you've memorized it and you know it, then you're gonna have to worry about. Yeah. In both scenarios, the preparation is an important part. But when you have a little bit of almost arrogance, like I've had previously, I'm like, I know, I can blag this topic. It never comes out great. Yeah. And I think I've now also created events where I've brought on people. I'm like, do you know your talk? And they're like, I'll figure it out on the spot. And I feel a bit offended. I'm like, bro, we hired you. Yeah. It's like, prepare talk. Yeah. And not only that, but also it's like, I know that if you could do a good talk blagging, you could do a phenomenal talk if you scripted it, because there's something about driving down the motorway or the outback or the highway and just thinking like, oh, that's a good idea, and then let me add that in. But it takes a long time. You mull over and you have another idea here, another idea, you're trying to sleep and you get another idea. And you put all those ideas together and you put it in a script, you have this beautiful talk constructed.
Let me give you a different perspective though. Just purely from a psychological perspective, right? For me, that I try to do that as well. But for me, it just comes out in bullet points rather than sentence by sentence.
Yeah, that's fine.
The reason it's sort of like that is kind of psychological, because I feel like the more I obsess over it, and try to get every word perfect, the more nervous I become about it.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Yeah. Whereas if I just say, you know what, I know my structure. It's not like I haven't prepared at all. I've got my prepared thing. I know the title. Yeah. Yeah. I've got some structure in my head and on paper, but I'm not going word for word, syllable by syllable. That makes me less nervous, because I know, as long as I know what I'm talking about, then I can go up there and I can talk.
Yes.
But I'm only going to trip up if I forget one of my words or bullet points.
So that does happen even when you memorize word for word, because you don't, there's so many different ingredients that go into it, like nerves on the day and things like that, or you can get distracted. But but then you fall on your experience and your skill set of being able to pick it back up. So even in my last TEDx talk, I did like skip a few words and miss a few words, and I almost tripped up. But then you like, if you do it enough times, you can pick yourself back up. So anyway, I wanted to tell you what my talk was, and then just like ideate with you a little bit on said topic. So let me just get that up. Hey, before we jump into the rest of the episode, just a quick message to say that if you've ever laughed with us, learned something, or felt that spark of connection through these episodes, you can get access to much more over at our Patreon. By joining the Freshly Grounded family, you'll get an extra weekly show that's hosted by members of the Freshly Grounded team. You get access to our exclusive brothers only and sisters only online community space. And most importantly, you help us keep the mics on and keep the mission moving. So if the podcast has ever hit home, don't just stand at the door, knock. Join the family at patreon.com/freshly grounded. Okay, now let's get back to the episode. Should have got it up in advance, really.
The whispering back there.
Okay, I can't find it. That's how prepared I am. Here you go. Right. The talk title is Intentions over Impressions, creating without losing yourself. And that's it.
Good. I like that. Did you choose that? Or they give it to you?
No, they gave it to me. So we had like a meeting initially about like, you know, what kind of topics do you normally speak about, and like what do people know you for, and things like that. And so I was like, look, what do people know me for? I was thinking, gym,
being huge,
lifting heavy weights. Lifting heavy weights and podcasting. I don't like doing talks on podcasting, so I mentioned that to them as well. The reason is because I always see podcasting as a vehicle of what we do, not necessarily the thing. And then secondly, I don't think I'm like the greatest podcaster. I know you're all gonna say no, you're great.
Don't all jump at once.
But obviously, like I've had many better, but it's really like what's behind the podcast. So, Intentions of Impressions, I think like we've lived our whole last 8 years of Freshly Grounded with the idea of trying to achieve this concept of don't do something just for the views. Make sure that it's morally and ethically correct, and that's like I think a microcosm for life, or like a concept for life, right? Do things not just because of like the impact that they'll have, like do it for the right reasons. And so that means that you turn things down and stuff like that. So it's about all of that stuff. It's about the idea of walking away from a deal because it's not like, it doesn't align with your morals and things like that. So yeah, what do you think?
I love it.
Well, that's the bit that they gave me. So.
Yeah. I think just on that topic, I think a lot of people's visceral reaction to that is like, that's going to stop you growing. If you go for that, like where do you draw the line of like, I won't do certain things if it's like a little bit in a grey area, for example, right? Not totally haram, but if it's something's like grey area, like, I can maybe just like use the fact it's a grey area to still grow and still tag people who are maybe shouldn't be tagged and still do this and still do that, or work with some companies who it's a little bit grey area. But I think, and I'm sure you're going to cover this, like the concept of Baraka, we've spoken about a lot. It's like, you might think that growth lies in like collaborating with somebody, getting the right influencer, so on and so forth. We've got like a big enough audience, but there's many, many, many examples of people who've blown up overnight or taken time and they've blown up, and they're collaborating with massive people, and they've got like a big following because they're doing brand deals and so on and so forth, and it just collapses, right? And it hasn't really helped in the long run. Whereas Baraka is something that, you're gonna get what's written for you, and you're not putting your akhirah in any jeopardy, and in fact you're actually getting good deeds by avoiding any of those grey areas, any of that haram stuff. And it's gonna be barakah in what you do. So
yeah, I like that. That reminds me of something that one friend told me years ago, which was he was talking about the idea that he doesn't hate on people on social media, and he was like, because he got hate on social media around this time we were talking, and he was like, the reason I don't hate people on social media is because it's like, as in like from a jealousy perspective, he's talking about, because he said Allah's gonna give you what is written for you, whether I hate on it or not. So what's the point in me hating? I might as well support, and like, obviously like this is providing everything, it's all like permissible and halal and stuff like that. So there's that comes to the element. What you're saying is like your risk is written for you. What you're going to get is written for you. So you might as well get it in the correct way.
Yeah.
So I do like that element. I also want to think about the fact that when people read that title, the expectation is going to be that I'm going to talk about, look, have Baraka in your content, the business of Baraka. So I want to go one level deeper. I don't know what that level is. I do want to tell stories. I like telling stories in my talk. So I think I could start with a story of like us having this huge opportunity and us turning it down and, for the sake of Allah. And then we realized that there was benefit and that Allah was protecting us from it. So story is always good. And there's like loads of examples of where you can do that. Even stories of other creators who did that. Even like, I'm actually always so inspired by the Menspire story, bro, because, to this day, they don't have pictures in their shops. They don't have music in their shops. Yeah. And then like, they would, in the early days, they would close down their shops. You're talking in St Albans, Hertfordshire, bro, like a non-Muslim area. They would close down the shop, go to the mosque, come back, open the shop. And then now look, bro, they've got like over 30 stores, right? So I could even tell that story because I've told that publicly before. Yeah. But yeah, I'm thinking like, what's a level deeper than just explaining the idea that there's barakah in your content if you follow Allah's guidelines? What's a level more that people, or a level more unexpected?
Okay,
where a dinosaur outfit while you're doing it.
There's two ways you can go with that. You can either go down like the sort of Deen Dawah route, or you can go down the business route. Yeah. So which way do you want to go with? Where do you want to like lead them down? Because obviously you can go deep with like what barakah can entail, what can it bring, and avoiding haram, and so you can go down that route, or it could be a case of like again the Menspire case study is good, but could be more stories around here's how it actually worked out for this company because they did this or because they didn't do that. So where do you want to head?
I don't know. That's a good point actually.
That kind of unlocks the next step.
I don't know.
A level deeper than barakah. Any ideas, guys? Give me 4 ideas right now. I'm thinking as well. Give me the title again.
You guys don't have to. You don't have to. Clearly, I'm doing this alone.
What was the title? Remember the title?
Intentions over impressions. Creating without losing yourself.
I say the Islamic route.
Yeah.
I say you go down the Islamic route rather than the business route.
Yeah. And maybe I'm just thinking out loud. Maybe it's not doesn't have to be separate. The losing yourself part is interesting.
I just thought about that. The losing yourself part is interesting because we're thinking that the talk has to be about either like the barakah of like walking away from things. But what about if the talk is about authenticity?
Authenticity, that's exactly right. Yeah.
It's like if you create content, according to your true authentic self. I have this like, it's not a theory because I think it's objective fact, but I have this thought that everybody can sniff out inauthenticity.
Yeah.
Is that what inauthenticity? Or lack of authenticity?
Yeah.
The removal of authenticity.
Authenticlessness?
Yeah. I feel like eventually everyone can sniff it out.
Yeah.
And so if that can be sniffed out, once it is sniffed out, it just reeks.
It does, it's true.
And then you can't go. People might get a bit of short-term success being inauthentic. Yeah. But if you want long-term success in the game, you have to be authentic.
Yeah,
do your true version of yourself.
This is kind of what stopped me, and kind of is still a little bit stopping me from like doing more content because it's like I want to be authentic when I do it. I don't want to pretend to be someone I'm not. I don't want to delve, sort of go on sort of tangents that I wouldn't otherwise go on. I'm only doing it because of content, right?
Yeah.
So for me, how that's looked, last like 4 months, I've been taking Instagram a bit more seriously anyway. It's just been like, and I was speaking about the boys of this in the office of like just doing things. And for me, that means just like showing you my coffee most of the time because I love coffee, right? I drink it 3 or 4 times a day, and then like I like the sunset, right? So a lot of my content every day is my coffee and like a sunset view. That's like 80% of my stuff. And then I'll drop in my business stuff here and there and whatnot. And that is just me. Obviously, we all struggle trying to be authentic. And I think if I was doing anything other than that, if I was trying to go out my way to go to like a bougie restaurant all the time because I need to get content, and I'm trying to like, intentionally be in places where I think I might meet someone famous and get on that would reek, and the pushback you'd get is like, I don't really do anything that interesting in my day. So what can I do? What I show, my vlog will be quite bland. And it's like, the vlogs I most enjoy watching, the stories I most enjoy watching, are people who I kind of a little bit know, and I just want to see that, like, they go to the gym, they go to this shawarma place after work, and they pick up their kids, and then like they do this.
So you should do more of that.
Normal stuff. So
It's
that's
not
what
about.
I like
It's
to
not
consume.
about boring. It's not about what you do is boring, because let's be frank, it is. It's about the fact that it's about the unique, authentic parts of your personality.
Yeah.
And that can reflect in different things.
Yeah, exactly
So that can
that.
reflect in how you make your coffee.
Yeah.
Like, for example, if you're a clean freak, someone who likes organization and stuff like that, that can show in your coffee, where it's like the way you're showing you make your coffee now, you show how you really take care in the assembly of your, or like the organization of all of your different like coffee apparati, right? Which is obviously plural for apparatus. And or it could be if you're a kind of person who's like not organized and likes to like, you're like a creative, artistic kind of hippie.
Mess.
Which is also fine. Like if you're organized or not organized, it's not necessarily like the difference between good and evil. Then showing that through your content and being like, just having like this messy coffee setup and just like grabbing, that's fine. But that shows your personality.
And many people will gravitate towards both of those for different reasons.
Exactly.
And you'll find your audience, right? And you and me spoke about this before. Like, I watch, when we think about like fresh grinding content or like social content, it's kind of like just do what you want to do, and then you'll attract the audience that is out there for you.
Definitely,
Do you know what I mean?
definitely.
If you're trying to engineer it too much, even if it starts working, it's like great, we're attracting this audience, but to this very engineered version of ourselves. So now it's like to continue growing, we've got to continue engineering it, and that's first, it's not very scalable anyway, and two, it's just like at what point do you say, I'm not really that. I'm not that kind of guy. And
it's mass personality production.
Yeah, MPP.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't make sense anyway.
That brings us to the topic of the fact that you just can't please everyone. If you try and please the people, you're never going to win, because what we see, I think there's a comment on a recent episode where somebody said something like, they're very respectful. They said like, oh yeah, much respect to these guys, good talkers, but talking absolute nonsense, boring.
That broke me.
Yeah, and like, but you'll get comments like that, and then you get comments where, like on the live stream and other comments, people are like, my favorite episodes are when Faisal and Kaya are just talking about nothing. It's just like, you just know it's like clean, while you're driving, entertainment, kind of like listening to a bunch of nothingness. So some people like it, some people don't like it. Then we have the Islamic episodes. Loads of people love the Islamic episodes, as in the ones where we are able to interview the shuyukh. And then some people are like, oh, we missed like the chilled out episode. So the only thing you can do is just create what feels authentic to you, and then like people will either listen or not.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the goal in life is to make sure that you're not displeasing Allah. And this reminds me of one of the things that I wanted to speak to you about. This thought that I had, but it completely goes off on a different tangent. But we can do that on the pod.
This is a podcast.
Fine. Okay. I was speaking to Idris, right, the other day, and we were saying that so often in life, as a Muslim, your goal is Jannah, right? And so as a Muslim, you think to yourself, like, how can I do, what deeds do I need to do? What deeds are stopping, if I have like a self-reflection period, what deeds are between me and Jannah? Like, that I know of that I can improve, right? Maybe I could do X, Y, Z, right? But how often, I feel like we don't often enough look at what deeds do I need to remove to get to Jannah. Yeah. So if you're, going back to the hadith of the man who said basically, summarizing like what are the bare minimum deeds I need to do to get to Jannah, who walked away, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that's the man of Jannah. And so as long as you're doing the fara'id, right? Yeah, you're praying 5 times a day. I'm not saying don't do more deeds and don't try and be the best for yourself. What I'm saying is sometimes we're looking through the wrong lens. We look at life or our goal of Jannah as what more deeds do I need to do? Yes, always have that running in the background, and sometimes you bring that to the foreground because when your iman is high, you try and do more. But more often, or for me, I guess, I think the things that are stopping me from getting to that next level of iman is actually the deeds that I need to stop doing, right? Of which I can think of many that are probably in between me and Jannah. And one brother said to me that he's a Hafidh, and he said that I was memorizing the Quran, and I found that when I made the intention, like the forceful intention to lower my gaze more, like really do it with a lot of intention, my hifz just like sped up so much. And so that was an example of him removing a bad deed, not trying to do a new good deed. Although like you could argue like lowering your gaze is a good deed, but it's removing the deed of looking, right? So I was reflecting on that a lot this week.
It's very true. It's very true. And we all fall into the trap of like, you know, our sins, we consider them to be sort of minor, and therefore it's like I could put it in the background, it's on a back burner. But these things accumulate.
I feel like a common one is like watching TV or watching TV series and things like that,
Yeah.
which like I feel like we have become so normal to that as a society because we've grown up, you know, a lot of you and I have grown up in the UK, right? And it's like, you know, it's such a big part of culture, bro. Like, you know, you go to school, that's what people are talking about, what happened the other day. I guess like less now because everything's streaming, but like when we were in school, things were programmed, right, at specific times. It's like, oh, did you watch last night's episode of XYZ? And that's something that probably a lot of us don't even consider, I need to remove that.
Yeah.
But if we did remove that, then you're removing like seeing things that you shouldn't be seeing, listening to things that you shouldn't be listening, all under the guise of something that feels to some of us permissible because of the fact that we are so used to it.
Yeah.
So that's an example of something we can remove. And bro, like we do things with wisdom. If you are able to like stop something like instantly, great. Yeah. But you know, sometimes it requires a little bit more intricacy. And it's like if somebody's been doing something for 30 years, how can you make that bad deed a little bit less, and then a little bit less, and then a little bit less, and a little bit less? I'm going to say something now that I might take out but I might not. But basically, I think it was really good practical advice. The reason I could take it out is because I think like people might take it as me saying that you should. It's okay to listen to music, or it's okay not to cut off sins and things like that. That's not what I'm saying. But I think but it also has something practical that I think is really great. So when I first ever did itikaf, I was 20 years old. I had been practicing for about 2 months, bro. I couldn't read Alif Bata, I couldn't read Quran. And I was with like all these brothers who are like serious, yeah. And one brother in itikaf, he said, he told me how he stopped listening to music. And I thought it was so beneficial, bro, yeah. And I know people who have done it this way, and that's why I think it is beneficial. But if you're listening to this podcast now and you listen to music and you're able to cut it off, and like, of course, like cut it off. The truth is we don't know when we're gonna die. We cut off your bad deeds. However, I think this is a valuable thing that he told me. He basically said, I really, really liked music and I needed to cut it out. And so what I did is I used this strategy where back then, gosh, because this is like 10, 11 years ago, we had iPods back then, I think still. Yeah. No, or maybe even if you didn't have an iPod, the iPhone was heavily utilizing the iPod feature. Yeah. Do you remember that? So there was an iPod app in the thing, and it's like that's where there's no like Spotify wasn't the norm. The norm was listening to music on your iPod. Yeah. And so he had a library of music on his iPod. Let's say he had 1,000 songs on his iPod, yeah. And so what he did is the first thing he did, he said, I'm never gonna download any more songs onto this iPod. Stopped downloading any new songs. So he only had the songs on the iPod that he could listen to. Then he started deleting. I think it was like one song at a time or one album at a time. So he had less and less and less, right? And then what happened is he got to the point where he only had like a few albums or whatever left. And then it got to a point where he literally had one song left. This was over a period of time. I don't know how long that period of time was. And so then he had one song left on his iPod. And that's the only thing he would allow himself to listen to. And then when he was ready, he deleted that song. And that was it. He stopped listening to music and he never went back to music. And I thought, you know what? From a practicality perspective, I'm not saying I'm advising people this. I'm not saying I'm not advising people this. I'm just saying that worked for him. And I thought that was really good practical advice at the time when I was 20 years old listening to that.
Could you imagine that last song was like Thomas Tank Engine?
Yeah.
No, that is good. Let me take out my Thomas Tank Engine. But yeah, that is, I mean, Allah knows best about the permissibility of that, but
fine.
You got to, yeah, I can understand why that's, sometimes you can't just go cold turkey on things, you know, and as we know, like when, at the time of Prophet ﷺ, the prohibition of like alcohol, for example, was like stages.
Stagnant, yeah.
So Allah knows best about that, but yeah, everyone's goal should be to obviously remove, like you're saying, remove these sins as much as possible. Yeah. And if it means cutting down first, then it means cutting down first. But yeah, the own goal should be to remove them. And advice myself first and foremost, like we need to like not fall into a trap of just saying like, okay, I know I've got these like small bad deeds I do here and there, quote unquote small, but if you leave something for long enough, it does compound, and now it's like a big sin because you're not doing anything to combat it. You're not repenting from it because you got used to doing it, and that's dangerous.
Yeah, I like the concept of life is like. Hold it, Kaya. Hold it. I know you're bursting. Fine, I'll say box of chocolate. Life is like standing on a
Box chocolate.
life is like standing on a airport travelator thing or treadmill thing, where it's like
I enjoy those.
yeah. If you're standing still, you're actually going backwards because Shaitan is constantly trying to pull you back. So you have to actually be walking forward.
You're going the wrong way.
So you're going the wrong way. Yeah. You're going the wrong way. Sorry. I'm not good at my analogies. So if you stand still, you're being pulled back by Shaitan. But so you have to. So it's not enough to be like, I'm happy with my iman that I have now, and so I'm good. I'm just going to stay here. No. If you're staying here, you're going backwards. You have to actually walk. You have to actually take action and constantly try and move forward. Yeah. And there's a concept that and I think we can get stuck sometimes in life where you go through this like growth spurt in your iman, right? Where like let's say for example you're 20 years old, you're 5 years, you go from like not practicing to practicing, praying 5 times a day, even praying tahajjud, like memorizing Quran, everything, and then from 25 you're like cruising now, and then you blink and you're 50. And the last 25 years, you've not grown. And one of the shuyukh I was speaking to, he was advising me, he said a lot of people, what they do is they start practicing, they get to a point and they get stuck at that point and they never go past that point. And so he was like, don't be that guy. And so that's why we have to constantly be moving. And one of the techniques that he gave for that was when your iman it's basically this idea of constantly raising the bar with your iman. When your iman is high, try and do more extra good deeds and try and make that become your norm. So that when your iman is low, even if you're doing the bare minimum, your bar has been raised. Yeah. And then if you live life like that, then eventually your bar is raised. And then now it's like, if you have low iman, that means that, you're praying tahajjud, you're praying 5 times a day in the masjid, but you're not, going out of your way to help your neighbor, whatever, whatever it is, the case is. And I think like you've noticed that everyone listening to this has probably noticed that at some point in their life, even whatever it is. It could be like you, for example. May Allah protect you and keep you, preserve you and increase your iman and keep you firm on the straight path. But no matter how low your iman goes, you're not going to miss salah, right? There could have been a time, I'm not saying the words, but there could have been a time in your life where low iman meant you're not going to pray fajr. Right? So it's like your bar's been raised. So it's like constantly increasing your bar. Yeah.
And there's also, correct me if I'm wrong, and iman goes up and down. But sometimes I feel like people get to a point where it's like, oh, my iman is low. And they'll wait for the high to do more good deeds. Right? Whereas I think, again, correct me if I'm wrong, doing more good deeds, especially the non-obligatory ones, will increase your iman. And then you get to that point, and then you can sprint. So it's also important, like if you feel like your iman is low, it's not like, I'm not saying you said this, but what you just said, someone could take that and say, all right, yeah, my iman's low. Next time it's high, I'm going to really go at it.
Yeah, good point.
Now is the time to do something to raise your iman.
Correct.
Then when your iman, then you can go even harder.
That increases your iman. It's like almost like it works in reverse.
Yeah. Like that travelator thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess like the final point on that bit was like, you just have to make sure that in some way you're making some progress. And sometimes what I find helps me, the progress thing is like, are you taking any steps towards like making it better? Like, are you doing better than you were the day before? That's like one thing. Or are you doing better than the last time you did that? Like, are you getting better and better? But what was I gonna say? I've lost it, bro. It's something. It's fine. It's something to do with the fact that you can end up being like paused on your iman, and then like 25 years go past.
Yeah,
which I just think is a scary thought.
That is very real, very scary, and may Allah protect us from that.
I remember the thought that I just had. I was like, sometimes I do this thought experiment where I like simplify everything. Life's not always, I guess, like this simple and easy, right? But I do try and do this. I try and sometimes just think to myself, is this pleasing Allah or displeasing Allah? Because everything is doing one or the other. It's either pleasing Allah or displeasing Allah. And so sometimes that's like just changing an intention, and then it's now pleasing Allah. And then other times it's like, the other way around. So when you think about life like that, I'm not saying I'm perfect at doing that, but when I do think about life like that, it does make my life easier, because then it makes decisions easier as well. Okay, out of these two options, which one pleases Allah or pleases Allah more, and things like that. So sometimes it's about like having those kind of thought experiments.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I have some.
You got notes?
Have you got notes as well?
I've got some notes.
Yeah, go on, bro. I've actually mentioned some of them. Yeah.
All right. Hit me. Definitely going on a different tangent here.
Okay.
But we've all heard about the threat of AI taking our jobs.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And you might be thinking, the first people to go would be, I don't know. Again, we spoke about like, maybe GPs, right? Which is like,
Yes.
People.
Yeah.
But what if I told
General
you...
practitioners.
General
Sure.
practitioners,
Sure.
for those who are unfamiliar with the acronyms.
Yeah.
It's actually Wimbledon line judges
No.
who are gone.
No.
They're officially gone.
Say it ain't so.
It's so.
Are they gone?
Guys, please calm down.
They've gone.
They're gone. Yeah, for the
Really?
first 147 years.
For the first time in 147 years.
There's no. So Wimbledon's going on right now.
Sure. I didn't even know that.
I'm not a Wimbledon guy.
I didn't even know
Yeah,
that.
it came up for me. I'm not Wimbledon. I don't watch
Fine.
it. I watch. No. Tell a lie. Tell a disgusting lie.
Yeah. Yeah, go on.
Was it Nadal final? Like must
Nadal.
be 10 years ago.
Okay, yeah.
Rafa Nadal.
Yep.
I can't remember who it was against. I can't remember. And
Probably Federer.
And then everyone, I think it was. Everyone was like, Nadal final, which one? I don't know. But it was like 10 years ago.
Fine.
And then it was an amazing final. I'm not even a tennis guy,
Sure.
but even I could see this is an amazing final.
Sure.
So
Do you
I
know
watched
Tim
that.
Henman, by the way?
Yeah, I remember way back.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Robinson's.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Ariel.
Yeah,
He has
yeah,
the
yeah.
white t-shirt.
Gosh, he was a sponsor.
Yeah, forever.
He was a bit of a sponsorship. It's not good
floozy.
there. Yeah. He liked a good sponsorship, that guy.
Yeah, he did.
He milked any money he could get out of that.
Fair enough, mate.
I mean, great tennis player.
He, apparently.
Yeah.
Apparently. I
Anyway,
couldn't
carry
watch
on.
him.
So you watched the Nadal final?
Yeah, so that was when that's the only tennis game I like watch like end to end.
Okay, fine.
But I'm not really into it. But this came up, and even I could see this is a big deal.
Right.
147 years.
Yeah.
That's basically like removing the linesman at football,
Yeah.
which is a pretty big deal.
It's exactly the same.
Exactly. The same. I think that's exactly.
Yes, exactly the same
equivalent.
job, but football.
Yeah. So from what I can see, it's just cameras now, and I imagine I don't know if AI is needed to actually see that. It's just a camera, but it
The
must
technology.
The technology's there, and maybe there is some sort of AI because maybe there's context as well. I don't know. But yeah, there's now no human doing that.
Are they the guys who are like, they have their hands on their knees, bending over, and they're
Yeah, I think
staring
so.
at the
Yeah,
line?
they stare at line. It's a very technical job, but you've got to stare at line.
Why did they not remove that sooner? So sometimes they don't remove things because of culture.
Reason.
Yeah.
That's what I would have thought. And then I think, well, why did you remove it at all then? Because it's pretty good cultural reason to keep that. Because like tennis is a very
It's a history
cultural
of tennis,
game, historic game.
Historic game, yeah.
You should probably keep them. And then maybe the pushback on that is, well, we've had a few incidents where they got it wrong.
Yeah.
And football went through the same thing with the VAR stuff, right?
Exactly.
Whereas like, did it go over the line? Did not go over the line? We have very, very famous like goals that never were but should have been. Where it went over the line, but the referee didn't allow it.
And it could have changed the course of history.
Would have changed the course of like history.
Football history,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? And then you think, yes, but also that's kind of also made history in an unjust way.
Yeah.
But it adds a bit of pizzazz, you know?
It does add pizzazz.
There's a bit of spontaneity.
Yeah.
When there's a
A
human
bit of flavour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When there's a human who is ultimately make that decision, is like, look, to me, it didn't look over the line, and the camera's showing like 7 foot over the line.
Yeah. It's like, well,
yeah,
I didn't think so.
I blinked.
But it does, and it also it helps with like bribery and things like that.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
that's useful.
Yeah.
But yeah, my point being, it's gone now. And I don't think that's the kind of thing you reverse very easily. It's just done.
No, yeah. That
So-
sounds like to be honest, that sounds like a good idea.
You think so?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I
The line judge watching need to turn it on right now.
yeah, we lost all our viewers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I actually, for once, I actually think it's the other way around. I think they should have brought the cameras in as a supplement to those line judges.
Well,
Should have kept them there.
For every reason other than cultural and historical reasons, that it makes sense to make that technology, because then it's 100% accurate 100% of the time.
So what I think they should have done, and they're free
Can't remember the man who never watches
hire me.
tennis.
Yeah, they're free to consult me on this.
Yeah,
right?
fine,
I've
okay.
got my fees.
Yep.
Keep those guys, but have the cameras come in, and then if there is any dispute, you just kind of like VAR basically. You refer back to the camera. Yep, the guy was wrong.
Now you're paying for the technology and the people.
And if he's
bro.
wrong, everyone gets to like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, now you're paying for the technology and the people. That doesn't make sense.
It does make sense. Though. If it's, this is what I'm saying to you. In these niche circumstances, it does make sense because culturally, that's worth paying this guy's wages to watch a line.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna.
I'm sure I've got
disagree to disagree.
Yeah,
Here.
but I'm sure I've got like a little uniform that they wear, and they've got like a little must do, innit? I don't need to turn up in a tracksuit.
No, they do. They wear they wear a nice green blazer with
Yeah.
khaki pants.
Yeah, this is
hands on knees.
It's part of the stuff, innit?
They wear a tie.
Little hat, I'm sure.
I don't know like how you keep saying the word little in front of everything that you're describing. A little jacket, little tie, little hat.
They got their little shoes on.
Yeah. They get their little salaries. Yeah. To feed their little families.
But what it is, like, that's like, I don't even watch tennis, and even I can imagine, like, that's like something on the pitch you would see just gone now.
So what do you think is going to be the next technological thing?
I'm saying, where does it end,
sport?
Where does it end?
Yeah.
We're going to replace the rackets now?
No, but specifically in sport, where do you think there's going to be the next one that people get replaced?
I think the referees, like, surely next, isn't it? A referee for football.
No, I think that's like the last thing to go. Yeah.
Why? What else is there? What else is there left? So the umpire for tennis, he's now the last guy on the pitch, other than the actual players. He's sitting there all alone right now.
There's
like,
the ball boys.
Okay, but AI, yeah, you could hire a robot, couldn't you, to get
to
the balls?
clean up the balls and then like, shoot out new ones.
That's a good example, right? That would really start to suck the humanity out of the game.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? It's like, you know those like.
I think tennis is done.
You know those like
they've taken the line, man. That's enough for tennis. Yeah.
Because at what point you got to draw the line?
No, yeah.
somewhere.
But I'm thinking other sports. Like I reckon there's sports where. Like, isn't it in bowls? Yeah, don't they like when they're doing the sweeping thing? Isn't someone like going with the ball, like watching it or something like that? That could probably go. Or in cricket, there seems like a lot of people on a cricket pitch.
Yeah, there's way too many people there. Just streamline that.
Yeah, they just streamline that process.
Down the salaries and all
we
that.
need to scale cricket.
Yeah. That's funny. The bowls one, the sweeping thing could definitely be a robot. 100%.
No, but I think that's part of the game.
Yeah, but a robot could easily sweep.
No, I think that's part of like if you're good at the sport. I think it's like we're moving a goalkeeper from football and saying plays with a robot.
Oh, I see.
I think.
Okay, yeah, maybe you're right. Actually, you got to be very good
it's
sweeper.
not like
you have to work at Tesco 20 years at least to get that.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know any other sports, bro. Boxing,
baseball, boxing. Again, referees, man. So with boxing, for example, it's like an AI to spot, because sometimes there'll be like a low blow or something that shouldn't have happened. Like, for example, again, we don't talk about combat sports too much, but it's like sometimes something will happen and it's kind of on the edge of, is that illegal or not because of where he was touched?
No, but the referee has to be in the action. He has to be to see it.
But AI, you've got like 7 cameras set up. You can see everything. You can zoom in, you can zoom out. It's AI in it. So in that, but then it's a question of, do you
just
really
get
want...
the referee to Zapier?
Yeah, little automation in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a case of just like, do you want to suck out the humanity of everything we're doing?
Yeah, I definitely think that you're wrong about the referee thing. I don't think referees are going to get replaced.
Really?
Yeah.
Not even eventually?
Yeah, I don't think so.
What, for cultural reasons? Or
yeah, not cultural, but like
like
what you're saying about taking the humanity out of the game.
Yeah, that's a cultural reason.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about managers?
No.
You
need to have a brain.
I can imagine like Man City, something like that. Just be like, you know what? Pep Guardiola is retiring. Our new
manager is trained on Pep Guardiola. Yeah.
They bring out a robot.
He's trained on all of his decision making.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Now you have to have like a mastermind, like a human behind that to like the nuances. Yeah, I don't think that's happening. What did you want to say?
Oh no, I was just saying about the football topic.
Australian football.
I was wondering how we got through this long of the pod without mentioning Australia.
Like with regards to like Premier League football right now, and a lot of leagues around the world, they use obviously VAR technology, which is essentially just assisting the referee. Yeah. But there are so they use technology to review certain challenges, decisions that may have been wrong with the referee on field. But there's still someone even behind that VAR in the box, like in their camera room.
Yep.
And they're
in their little camera room.
Yeah. So they're using the technology, but they're still overseeing. So there's still a human still making that decision to fix the referee's choice.
Yeah.
I think it's a good middle ground where you're still using technology, but you're still overseeing it by someone.
Yeah.
And you're only correcting the referee if they make a wrong decision, not where you're taking over the whole thing.
Yeah.
There's no one on the field at all. So I think that makes more sense.
Yep.
Although there is a debate where if they're even using VAR correctly, because if anything, there's been more wrong decisions even after reviewing.
That's true. Yeah, there's been a lot of like you'd think VAR is going to totally eradicate wrong decisions, but if anything, I feel like
It's caused more controversy.
Yeah,
but
yeah, I do think you're right though. Like supplementing humans.
It's kind of like what we were saying just before this morning about work. Like I think AI will probably continue to be something that we will use to our advantage, but it's not gonna, I guess, replace heaps of different roles. It will probably start replacing a lot of roles, but people still want that human element.
Yeah.
Eventually, I think it's gonna rapidly go in one direction. It's gonna be too many things using just AI, and then people are gonna miss the human side. So I think you have to find the right balance. We can't run away from it, but I think finding the middle ground will probably be the sweet spot for us to help us with everything.
Oh, interesting to one looks in the conversation. He's like, I think if we ever got an action replay of this, Ibrahim was talking about AI and football, and Suleiman's like
falling asleep. No, that's very good points. And we were speaking about this before the podcast. A few things actually. One, we're speaking about how when we see AI avatars on like social media, we'll consume them for content and information. Yeah. But would I trust it to buy from it? Let's say the avatar was like, because I see a lot where it's like they're going for a new business trend, right? Yeah. And it's clearly AI avatar. And I'm happy with that to learn from it. But it turns around and says, and you can buy this software right now for $19.99. If you think about it, I'd be like, I'm not going to buy it from you. You dirty little robot. Yeah. That trust element isn't there. The trust element isn't there, right? And so it's got a good use case, but it's not the full use case. And then the other thing, which I think is really interesting, I don't know if I spoke to you about this already, yeah?
Okay.
We currently...
Probably not, because you don't speak to me anymore.
Yeah, we don't. What was I going to say? Okay, yeah. I was listening to some podcast, and they were like, look, we're right now in the phase that Uber was in when it first launched.
Oh, everyone likes to relate them to Uber. Get over it.
You know what I mean? Yeah. The other one's like World War II.
Or Netflix.
Yeah.
It's like, I use that. I'm like, well, look, did you know Netflix is still not in profit?
Yeah. It's very relevant. Very relevant. Yeah. Same thing. Uber. So Netflix and Uber, when they first launched, for like 10 years, they weren't in profit. Yeah. And they weren't trying to make profit. No. What they were trying to do is subsidize their cost to essentially make no money to get market share. Yeah. Right? They wanted to embed themselves in the culture. Then they could raise their prices, and you're going to pay it because you're hooked on Netflix and Uber.
Yeah, because it becomes the default.
There you go. Yeah. That's where we are right now with AI. Sure. Right? OpenAI, for example, they're not making any money. Yeah. In fact, I think they're losing money. Yeah. Okay?
They pay, you know, the developer salaries are $1 million.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Annual salary.
Crazy. So, but it's on purpose. They're not making it on purpose. They're trying to get as much market share, embed themselves in the culture as much as possible, which they've done quite well with ChatGPT. And then later on, and this is across the whole landscape, not just OpenAI, all AI will begin to increase their prices, okay, because server costs, just energy
They've
costs.
Already have they got that £200 a month.
Yeah, but that's not even that. That's premium. Eventually, the right now we're paying $20 dollars a month, right, to get semi-premium access. Yeah. That's going to be, they'll raise the price a lot more. Kind of like Uber's already raised their price compared to when it first launched, right? Sure. And for businesses, that cost will be massive. Because you have to, let's say right now you've got 100 AI agents working for you for a large company. Right now it's peanuts, but when they raise prices eventually, that's actually going to become, so what this person was saying, that price will eventually become just as expensive, if not maybe more expensive than hiring somebody. Right? So we get to that point.
Though, because the cost of technology continues to go down.
He's saying not necessarily. He's saying actually we've got good reason to think that will go up. Because
who is this man? Who is this mystery man?
I'll keep that to myself.
Is it an AI agent?
Yeah. No.
Makes sense what you're saying. Fine.
I think it was Greg Eisenberg. I want
okay, fine.
If you know him. But it could have been one of his guests actually.
Fine. Okay.
Right. But point being, there's no doubt that eventually AI will become more expensive because we know this model of like get market share for cheap, lose money, and then make money. Sure. We've seen it Uber, Netflix, many others. So that's going to happen. Yeah. The only question is how much and what does that look like, and does it become a case of okay, hiring 3 or 4 AI agents is actually about the same price now, just hiring somebody in the flesh, or maybe even more. Because when you think about energy costs going up in the future, lack of microchips, things like this, right? It could be a case of like, wow, actually AI is actually more expensive than a human. And it doesn't give you the full experience of a human either. Mm-hmm. That's what this person was saying. Like he's saying basically, it's not this shift isn't inevitable. There are some obstacles in the way. And it may be a case of like in 10 years' time, you actually better off trying a human to do it. Maybe.
The pendulum keeps swinging, bro.
It does.
Yeah.
The pendulum's actually swinging total frequency right now. Wait, no, where is going?
Pendulums be penduluming.
Yeah, they be doing that.
Yeah.
Pendulumonium.
On another note, yesterday I had 5 meetings. Yeah.
Wow.
I was gonna tell you. Remember off air, I was like, I'll tell you, but I can't tell you like the second half because.
Great.
But I'll tell you part
Whatever's
of
all
what I
morning.
was gonna say. Yeah. But anyway, I had 5 meetings, and so I got to my lunch meeting. No, I got to my meeting that was around lunchtime, and it was at a coffee shop. It was at Batil, Cafe Batil. So they,
choice.
if I said to you, bro, let's go for Cafe Batil, it's 50-50. You could equally think that I'm asking you to come for coffee because it's kind of a coffee shop, but you could equally think that I'm asking you to come out for lunch because it's
Faisal
also
buying me a
food.
steak.
Right,
Yeah.
because it's like a bit of both. It's like split down the middle. If I said to you, bro, let's go, Nando's, I'm asking you to come for lunch.
Yep.
If I said to you, bro, let's go to Falcon Coffee Roastery,
Nice.
I'm asking you to come for coffee.
100%.
Cafe Patil, you don't know. So anyway, we got this lunch. It's at lunchtime, and it's at 2 p.m. and it was at Cafe Patil, right? And I didn't know if we were meeting for lunch or for coffee. And then so I get there and I'm hungry, right? No, I get there hungry. The guy basically tells me what time he's gonna get there. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I decided to go there early. I thought I'll eat some food.
Okay.
That way when he comes, I would have eaten. So I'm not having a meeting hungry, yeah. But also like it's not weird if he doesn't get food, right?
Right.
Because then worst case scenario, if he gets the food, like I can get a little dessert or something. Right? I can like make it, but it'd be worse if like I'm really hungry. I'm in an hour and a half meeting and he's like not getting anything. So anyway, I get there early. The waitress comes. I order myself grilled chicken on a bed of what can only be described as a concoction of mixed vegetables and lentils and things like that. Anyway, order this grilled chicken dish. And so they're making it, and my man turns up. And he looks at me, he's early, and I'm like, hey man.
Yeah.
I was like, look, and I thought at this point, the only thing I could do is just spill the beans.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Spilled lentils.
yeah, I was like, listen, I've just ordered food. It's going to be here any minute. At that point, I ordered like 15 minutes ago. I was like, it's going to be here any minute. I feel so bad. I said, I didn't know if this was going to be a lunch meeting or coffee meeting. And I was hungry. So I was like, let me order it, eat. And then I just started telling him the truth. And then so I was like, grab some food. I said, no, I'm good. I'll just have some water. I was like, no, you can't do that. We're going to be doing a meeting. I'm going to like munch in front of you while we're talking because my food's going to say, no, it's water. I was like, oh my gosh. So I was doing this meeting, bro, obnoxiously just munching while this guy's talking to me. And it reminded me of, Sam once was meeting somebody here. And he was meeting the owner. And this owner, what he was doing is he was just like in this restaurant eating his food and people was like in... doing rounds of like doing meetings with him. So he's at his table, he's doing all his morning meetings and people just like sitting with him, talking next person. And he was telling me about how that felt. And I just felt like wrong. Like this guy's just like munching, listening, all right. And I felt like that. Like I was just eating away while you're like pitching yourself to me. And so that happened.
Okay.
Then what happened is, but anyway, it's fine. But then obviously I've had a meal. So I need some coffee to wash the meal down and re-energize. Yep. And so she comes, picks up the thing. I've now just eaten in front of this guy while he's talking to me. And then I'm like, oh, you're going to grab a coffee? And he goes, no, I'm good. And I go,
play ball,
I
man.
could really do with you having a coffee right now. And he goes, so I go, oh, you're not a coffee guy? He goes, no, I am.
Oh, just
so
not right now.
Because I'm good with water. I was like, excuse me, can I have a single espresso, please? And then, bro, then it gets worse. So then that's 2 p.m. Then I have a dinner meeting later. So I come home after the lunch meeting. I'm with the family and stuff like that. I tell my wife, don't worry about dinner. I'm going out for dinner for a meeting, right?
Yeah.
So go to his place. And again, I'm marveling. And I ain't eaten since 2 o'clock. It's like close to 9 p.m. now. Okay. So I'm like, we get there and dude just orders water. So I get coffee and we do this like 2-hour meeting.
Who are these people, man?
Marvin, yeah, and I'm like, am I like just like an overeater or something? I was like so hungry. So yesterday I was like trying to be nice and like just like not. I was just like ended up being so hungry. Anyway, at the end of the day, it's the funniest thing, bro. It's 11 p.m. And by the way, I've done, as I said, 5 meetings. I'm socialed out, bro. And I'm an extrovert. I get energized when I'm speaking to people, and even I'm burnt out. And so I just got a takeaway, and I sat in my car at 11 p.m. in the mall car park. Yep. I FaceTimed my sister. I'm just like sitting in my car in the dark, eating my food. Actually, it's funny because I kind of said I didn't want to speak to her, but it was, it's like your sibling, right? It's you don't feel obliged to have to go. I was like, hey, I'm just sitting in a car park at 11 p.m. eating my dinner. She was like, I do it all the time.
That is a good way to eat dinner.
Bro, Joe is really nice. Just sit
I
by
enjoy
yourself.
that. Yeah, I enjoy that.
Yeah.
I've been doing that for years, mate. Maybe even
Do you know what?
decades.
That's a good reason to get a nice car.
You reckon?
I think so. I think like I personally can't justify the idea of spending a lot of money on a car. Because I go straight A to B. I don't necessarily need a bad car, but I'm not obsessing over the fact that I need a G-Wagon. Yeah, I would love a G-Wagon.
Yeah.
I really want to get a Porsche Panamera. But again, he's like, I don't obsess with them. I'm not like, nice car, nice. I love cars. I know some people are into cars. But I think that is one good reason. Like, because you spend a lot of time in your car, and you got to eat your dinner in your car sometimes, it is a good reason to have a nice car.
What I would like, nice car or not, is what I want in the car. I want to be able to turn, and I think like Bentleys can do this. I want to be able to turn a back seat into a work desk.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so you know, like on a train, you get those little tables.
Yeah.
Something like that. It's just like I can work from it, I can eat from it. Maybe got a TV in there. That's what I want.
Yeah.
And I don't think, again, I think Bentleys do it, but I think there's some other like normal cars that
I would say at that point, just get like a V-Class or Sprinter.
Just get a Bentley, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like
a
V-Class or Sprinter, and that way you can just do it up at the back, and then you can
Become
start
van
to
life,
sit
just
at the
live
back.
in the van.
Yeah, basically van life. Yeah.
I mean, mate, I've considered it. Okay, when I make decisions, like that.
Just on that bit, I just want to ask Suleiman, did you ever used to just get in the back of the V-Class and just chill out?
All the time.
Is it?
All the time.
Yeah.
I've slept in it so many times.
Is it?
Because sometimes you're waiting for a customer, maybe a couple hours. I'll go in the back and you could put the seat a bit down and I'll just sleep.
Did it have like a leg extension or whatever?
No, so there's a new thing come out called jet classes. So it's like a jet seat.
Okay.
They'll take out the 6 seats in the back of the V-Class and put 2 seats in it.
Okay.
And
I've been
a
in one of
jet
those.
seat, yeah. Oh yeah, you've been in one of those. I've seen it on your Instagram. So it's like that. And then there's some that they convert. They put a coffee machine in the back.
Nice.
They plug it to electricity.
Hold on, did you have a jet class?
Nah, I wish I
Jet
had it.
class, yeah. Coffee machine in the back.
Yeah, coffee machine. A screen will come down. PS5 will be connected. Yeah, they'll kit them out.
So what did you used to do? So you used to, like, you're waiting for a client, and then you would just jump in the back of the V-Class and just go sleep?
I'll sleep, yeah, because sometimes you're working like from 4 a.m.
Yeah.
and then up until 12 and then nothing till 3. If I'm in my house, I'll go home. If I'm not, I'll just keep in the back quickly.
Did you ever get, like, it? Because you was in Central as well, so did you ever get like people, I don't know, like...
No, I'll sleep more time when I'm in Heathrow. So
yeah. Was it tinted so people can see in the car?
Yeah, all of them come standard tinted. So
Okay, fine,
Yeah,
yeah.
all tinted.
When you're knackered, when you're shattered, a little nap in a car hits.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing is, it's comfy in the back,
Yeah.
so you have to put your alarm on and whatnot.
Yeah. That's funny, man.
Have you seen those? So like some big content creators or people who have a lot of money, instead of like them driving around, they'll get one of those cars so they can just keep working while they're on the road, and they'll get a driver. Like
Stephen Bartlett has that.
Stephen Bartlett, yeah,
That's one thing. Yeah.
He said one of his biggest ROI purchases was getting that
can
car
imagine
and
that.
paying for a driver. Because he's always like back and forth to places, he just keeps working on his laptop in the back, and it looks like a setup that you were just saying.
Yeah, he's the one that has the coffee machine in it.
Yeah, it just looks sick because it's like you can just keep working. It looks like you're at a desk, but it's just moving, and that way you don't have to worry about obviously because driving takes up a lot of your day.
100%.
So
100%.
like if you have that 40 minutes back and forth, and like that's a couple hours a day of you just doing stuff.
That's my
That's
goal.
sick.
My
Yeah,
goal
so
is drive out in V-Class. I'm not going to lie. NGL. Let's just be honest. Let's lay it all out on the table.
PBH.
Yeah.
No, here's the thing. 100%. So you know some people are like, oh, if I get like mega rich, you'll see signs like don't put like a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
No, for me that's that. You'll see me not driving anymore.
Yeah.
It'll be me in the back of a V-Class, coffee machine, espresso machine, with my little coffee hat, making coffee.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Oh, bro, for sure. Like, it is, because you can work, you can do it, but the point is that you can just be productive. And there's so much driving. In a day, I probably do, on average day, I'd probably do about 2 hours of driving.
Yeah.
Half an hour to the school, half an hour back from school, that's 1 hour. And then between doing pick up and drop off from office and all that kind of stuff. So you're doing about 2 hours a day. So that 2 hours in a day, even if it's not working, I'm not like trying to, it could be resting.
Yeah.
It could be, there's a lot of things admin stuff that you have to do. Like you got to sort out your, I don't know, just your bits and bobs. and you can do that while you're in drive. So I do think I would do that. The one that always stops me is like trying to figure out if we had a driver, a person that would benefit from it a lot would be my wife.
Yeah.
So trying to figure out the whole situation of like, how do you do it in a way where she has what did she get a female driver? But then how do you do that? So you're paying 2 drivers now, and then when are they like? What if you just want to pop out?
Yeah.
How do you do it?
Okay, so 2 things. One, if you're rich, you get 2 drivers.
Yeah.
There we go. Keep them on standby. Whatever.
Keep them both on standby. Pay them full-time salary.
Yeah.
Have an Outback.
Yeah.
Have an Outback in your Outback. A little studio. A little
Well, some houses here have
guest house thing.
All houses have maid room.
Yeah.
The bigger houses here have maid room and driver's room.
Driver's room. That's it.
Driver's
I know
room.
somebody who had a driver's room in Saudi.
Yeah. So you can have that, and that's just like built into the house. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
so
what
they're
does
just
the-
basically chilling in the driver's room until they would need it, basically.
Yeah.
And they're just on standby, ready to go.
Yeah.
They're just on
whenever needed.
standby, yeah.
So my driver just like when I'm having a driver, he just comes with me. Right. So there's that.
So you have 2 driver's room, a men's one and a women's one. It's outside the house.
Yeah. Or
It's like separate house, yeah.
I think I've spoken about this before. Maybe offline.
2 cars.
That, but he's still in a driver. Zofa. You heard of Zofa? This new app.
Yeah.
Buy.
Yeah.
It's chauffeur like Uber.
On demand, yeah.
It's Uber without the car.
But how much? So I assume that means that's substantially less than the Uber. How much
I
does it
think
cost?
so. So I used it, and it was like a 15-minute drive. So he just took my car without me. Right?
Yeah.
I need my car delivered somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And it cost me. I'll check right now.
Yeah, I'm wondering, like, because then what's the difference with that and Uber? Is just like it has to be cheaper.
It is
'Cause
cheap-
you're just paying for
it
the
is
driver
cheaper. I
and
was
the
trying to figure out how much it was. Here's my receipt here. I paid 40 dirhams. So for a 15-minute drive. So what's that?
It's like £8-9 pounds.
£8-9. So he
How much did you pay on Uber for that? Probably same, no?
about the same. Maybe a little bit. Maybe like a pound more.
Yeah, it's not a substantial difference.
Not crazy.
So what are the advantages? Other than okay,
So,
if you
basically, so in this situation, you don't want to hire a full-time driver.
can you select female driver on the
No, but let's say they have that option. They should.
Okay.
Maybe I haven't looked actually. Maybe they do.
Fine.
That'd be good if they do. But that's basically the solution, which is having some female drivers and male drivers on call, whether it's for an app or you hire them.
One of the kids at my kid's school, they have a V class, a female driver,
Yeah.
and the mum goes and picks up the kids with that.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, so
Works.
they like.
Yeah, it works, man. If you got enough money, man, it's just like.
One of the things you mentioned sleeping in the car. One of the things I noticed when sleeping in the car is I have friends in high places.
Yeah.
I have friends like he won't mind me saying this, Gibran. Also, he won't mind me saying this, Ajmal, Silverback AJ. That when I've been with them, we're like going somewhere, they purposely park their car far so that less cars will park near their car, so that their car, like when people are like, there's less chance of damage to their car, basically. Which I have always been like, is it that deep? But I get it, but like it's not me.
Yeah.
However, bro, every Ramadan, you know the routine. The freshly grounded tribe knows the routine. I try and I'll drop the kids to school and I'll try and catch a nap in my car. I park in the mall car park, shaded, kick it back, go sleep. One thing I noticed when sleeping in my car is the amount of people that hit your car with their car door. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable. It's almost daily. Now, I don't have a car where I care about it that much.
Yeah, same.
But if I did, like Gibran and Ajmal and stuff who care, and now it makes so much sense to me because it actually happens every day.
Yeah.
Every day your car's getting
Yeah.
hit.
For me, I'll do the same routine, by the way.
Oh, in your car?
Yeah.
Quiet. Don't worry, you don't need to do it.
Yeah. But I'll park away just so I wouldn't be woken up. I don't care. You can smash the car all you want.
Yeah,
Don't wake me up.
no, wake me
Don't
up.
wake me up. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but-
I hate that, man.
But what? People, yeah, man.
Yeah. It is what it is. I mean, yeah, it's not on purpose. But
No, it's not on purpose. It's not on purpose. But
happens.
it does happen.
Especially if you've got kids. Sometimes there was once there was a kid like in the other car, just open like bang like, on my car door. And it's
Especially
like,
in the UK. UK
kid.
parking spots are so tight.
Yeah, but it happens here as well. It's just like we can do to shout at a kid. Like it wasn't a parent's fault either, and like, it wasn't a kid being like mad, obnoxious. It was just a kid being a kid.
You know what, bro? Have you ever seen a Nissan Patrol in the UK?
No, they don't exist though.
They don't exist.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking, you couldn't even park one.
They're extinct.
Did you have struggle parking the V-Class?
Nah, because it's all got 360 cameras and everything. So
No, but like bays, because bays can be tight in the UK.
now, do you know what it is? The length is long, but the width is okay. Whereas
Yeah.
in Nissan Patrol, you can't get in the UK because the width is too big.
Yeah.
You couldn't park a Nissan Patrol in the UK.
Nah,
I don't
the
think
width
so.
is too. It will come out the bay.
Are you saying it's illegally wide? No,
No,
that's not
I
what you're
just
saying.
think it's
Okay.
like even like
Impractical,
to go
innit?
through the bollards. I don't think
Yeah.
it will fit through the the yellow bollards.
Oh,
Bro, you
yeah,
don't-
the
You
bollards.
don't even need to think
majority
about
classes.
parking, bro. Imagine, most roads in the UK is like only one car can squeeze in. You got to wait for the car.
Yeah.
I always
A
forget
patrol
that.
will be
I get back to the
finished.
UK. It's like, oh, I forgot this whole like, waiting for you to move so I can move.
Yeah.
How would you do that with a patrol? You just wouldn't be
Yeah.
able to do it. Like, I don't even think you'd be blocking the way still. A lot of roads you're
Yeah.
blocking. Think of how many times you're giving someone way and they literally squeeze past you, and you're in like a hatchback.
You know I'm going to the UK for 24 hours.
Why?
Yeah, I know. I don't know how I'm gonna fit everything in.
What are you trying to fit into that time?
So I'm gonna drop my wife and kids,
Okay.
and we're gonna land about like 2 p.m. or whatever,
Mm.
and then I've got to be back at the airport for like 7 p.m. the next day, and in that time I've got to see family and stuff, just because I haven't been back to the UK in a few months, and then I've got to go to. I've got a viewing at 11 a.m. at the theatre that our episode 400 is happening at.
Okay.
And then I've got a party my sister is throwing at our mum's house, because all of the siblings are going to be together for the first time in ages with like our kids and stuff. And so I've got to fit all that in and then get back to the airport, which is quite a lot of things. And then I'm taking my older sister, I'm taking her with me to the viewing. And I don't know how I'm going to fit it all in. Sorry, this is the other thing I was going to say, is that my mum is meeting Laith for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's 9 months, bro, and she's never met him.
Yeah, I've got a
so
nephew
excited
to
to
meet in London.
Is
Never
it?
met, he's 7 months, I think.
Yeah, nephew and grandson.
Yeah, sorry.
Let me have my time, Kyle.
Yeah, no. I mean, it sounds tight but doable. And the thing is, when you're going to the airport stuff without the kids, it's a lot more like
Yeah.
It's not like once you get into the car, you're basically there. You know what I mean, whereas with the kids, like anything can happen.
Especially when you fly private jet.
Yeah,
Especially when you're in that jet
there
class.
you go.
Yeah.
You know,
Which is not the case.
not saying what we're doing now, but if
unfortunately.
you do that, it helps.
Where do private jets land in London? It's London City Airport.
Okay. I've been waiting for years. No.
I still remember it was better than you.
Okay, maybe confirm this, yeah? But what I discovered,
Okay.
to my surprise,
Gosh, we should check the time. I've got a school pickup. Oh, we got ages.
okay.
Oh no, I've got a text from the FTA. The financial.
Guess what I got today? Talking
Your
about fines.
your corporate tax return is due by 30th of September
I had that as
2025.
Oh, I got it as well. I got 11:33.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got 11:37.
So can you see the
Yeah, the priority.
Yeah?
Yeah, the pecking order.
levels.
The pecking order.
Levels.
Yeah, sorry, bro.
all right?
But that's September 2025. Why am I getting that now? That's ages away.
They give you time in it, I guess.
No, but if you know who
Why are you
I am,
panicking
if
me
you
so-
know who I am, I will.
I ain't doing that till August.
On the 29th of
Exactly.
September,
Do you know
I'll
what I
start
mean?
sending that document to
Yeah.
my accountant.
Exactly. mate.
Okay, fine. No, sorry, go on. So,
What was I saying?
where
Okay.
do private jets land in London?
They don't.
Oh, they don't.
Yeah. No.
Is it Watford?
No. So there's.
London
I
City
don't know if it's London or not, but it's near London, I think. But it's another airport. Let me get the name of it. But basically, it's not. They don't land in Heathrow. I used to
I'm
think.
sure there's a private terminal in Heathrow, bro.
No,
There
it's
is,
not.
there is. They
No.
land-
I
they
know.
land-
No.
Oh, say
there?
you're
Hold
right.
on, let's ask ChatGPT. Let's see who's right here.
Oh, let's not ask the guy who picks up the
Yeah.
royal family from the airport.
Where do private
It's going to tell you
jets
Biggins Hill.
land? Yeah, that's the one I think. Land in
But
London.
they also, even Stansted, they'll land there. They'll land in Heathrow. They'll land in.
Or private jets?
Yeah.
Really?
There's,
You know, he was picking up the
There's a
Arab
jet-
royal
Yeah.
families and stuff.
there's a jet terminal in each of the airports.
Really?
Yeah,
I thought. Okay, so London City Airport, which I was going to say as well, which is like it's in the middle of like the skyscrapers and stuff. Farnborough Airport. Is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, Farnborough.
Farnborough.
But some of them are some of them are
You don't know
just
that.
jets.
No.
Landing there sounds quite fun, bro.
Yeah. There's Biggin Hill.
Yeah.
So if you're big in this,
I
you
need
can
to
land
quit the
there.
podcast.
London Luton, bro. If
I told you, they
If
land
you're,
all
if you're
of
on a
them.
private jet and you plan to land, like, just turn around.
Yeah.
No.
No, but you know what it is? They have their own terminal there.
Is it?
Yeah, so they come
So
out their own way. They don't come out
okay.
through the main building.
They don't have that in Heathrow?
No, Heathrow have it as well.
None of Heathrow.
all private strips.
Have their own
major
private
inter-
jet
okay,
terminal.
So do you pull up next to the car, next to the plane?
right next to the jet. So like in
Really?
Biggin Hill, I'll see the jet. I'll come right
Yeah,
next
so
to
that's
the jet.
quite small. But one Heathrow, you can't do that at Heathrow, can you?
No, it's like its own.
Yeah.
But
So
it's not the main one. It's not the main.
Yeah, so Heathrow, it's a major international hub. It offers VIP fixed base operator terminals, e.g. Windsor Lounge. Yeah. Slot limited, expensive, busy, requires advanced booking. So it looks like you can get Heathrow, but it doesn't look like it's the easiest way to like land. Whereas like Biggin
Well,
Hill,
I mean, it's not that bad, is it? It's still a private jet.
yeah, but the point is like there's not many slots available. So
Like David, David Ramsey says, "Oh, should I call the ambulance?"
yeah. But so you can Southend as well.
Can't land your private jet easily.
Yeah.
Even Rice Slip, you know the RAF.
Yeah.
Well, land there as
Surely
well.
Yeah,
you.
jets can land there.
Really?
Some.
That's-
like,
That's I
must
thought
be
that's
about
specifically for your
emergency, surely,
family.
yeah.
Because I know the Queen lands there. Used to land there.
No, I haven't picked anyone up from there, but I've heard.
No, I'm pretty sure you
can
got to
land
have
there.
like special clearance. Like, they
Oh,
can't-
yeah, for sure.
That's a military base. There's no way Johnny from San Francisco is landing there.
yeah. Yes, Suleiman.
No, I'm saying like
Yeah, come to this
Ridiculous.
podcast. You've not even been in 5 weeks.
Oh wait, hold on, no. Number 7 is RAF Norfolk. Hold on, a military airbase in North London.
Kaya,
Suleiman,
Suleiman, I always back you.
schooling
bro.
us.
I always back you.
It handles,
You're my guy.
okay, hold on. It handles VIP, diplomatic, and private civil flights. Highly secure, discreet, and private. So it's probably not your average Joe that lands there.
So, speaking as someone who lives near RAF Northolt, I've spent my entire life driving on that past that road, basically almost on a daily basis, anywhere I need to get to. And so what we used to do as kids is, so what they have on that road is if there's a plane landing, there's these lights and you have to stop.
Okay.
And so I have like these really fond childhood memories of every now and again, maybe it would happen like, because when we would pass that road, it would happen maybe once every 2-3 weeks we'd see it, right? I'm sure planes landing there daily, but for it to like time with when you are passing the road at that moment. So when it would happen, my mum would be like, "Oh look, guys, the lights!" And so she'd stop the car, and sometimes we'd be right at the front. And she'd be like, "Right, when the plane comes, we're gonna clap," and we go, "Yeah, shit!" And so like our childhood, we were like, "Whoa, bro, yeah!" And bro, in our everything like nuts planes, right? But I remember like the Queen landed there a few times, and so sometimes what we would do is like we'd have to pause, and there'd just be a massive police convoy coming out of there and things like that. And I think like one time, I think during COVID time, when who was the prime minister at COVID? I think it was Boris Johnson. And then one time, I think like when the COVID news broke or something like that, he was in Brussels, and so he took emergency landing and things like that. So I'm going off a tangent. One question I wanted to ask Suleiman about your previous job is, because of that, do you now hate driving, or do you love driving, or you're neither here nor there? Like, what's your relationship with driving now? As someone who hates driving.
No, it's a bit of both. Like, so if I had to do a long journey, I wouldn't mind it because I know I could do it and I used to do it all the time. But because I've also seen the other side to it, for example, driving around people in V-Class, same like you, like I really want to get to that stage where I'm sitting in the back of the V-Class.
Well, you're in the right job for it. You work at the right company. Nice, man. But in terms of
Do you hate it or not? On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you hate it?
No, I don't hate
I'm
it.
joking, yeah.
I don't hate it.
No, and we were talking about this the other day about going to like Fujairah and stuff, like the road trip. I used to hate the idea of a road trip. And I think you said before, your sister drove from Riyadh to Dubai.
That's correct.
10 hours.
Yeah.
And I think a couple of years ago, that's like my worst nightmare. It's like, I can't think of anything worse than having to drive. But now it's like, actually, that could be nice.
But it depends what you're driving.
Be the move.
Could be the move, man. Could be
Yeah.
the drive.
Yeah.
Depends what you're driving, true.
Because at one point when I was driving an S-Class, I didn't mind it. It's massage seats, heated, cooling, everything. But
Okay.
then if you're doing the same 10-hour journey in like a Golf,
Yeah.
it's a bit long.
I hear it.
So what I wanted to ask you is, with all that driving experience, do you have any driving hacks for us that, like, how do you pass times, things like this? I ask because I really struggled in Ramadan doing those 2-hour drives every day, like to nursery and back and stuff like that, because one way I pass time when driving is eating.
Yeah.
Like,
Your ADNOC stop.
little stop at the petrol station, get a little snack, right? Or coffee to have, and you can't do it when you're
I
fasting.
recommend the cheese. Oh yeah, not fasting. When you're not fasting, the cheese hot dog from ADNOC
Oh, okay, yeah, I've not had
comes
that.
highly recommended. Continue.
So I remember I was watching this weight loss video. Yeah, don't judge me.
While you're eating it. That's jokes.
And this guy, he lost a lot of weight. And he basically was like, he was talking about his whole journey and how he put on all the weight initially. And he's a lorry driver in the UK. And he said, when you're a lorry driver, all you're doing all day is just driving. And he goes, the only way to get a bit of like dopamine or like not boredom is you're just eating. because you got nothing else. You're just driving hours and hours and hours. And I was like, bro, that's so valid because that's what I do. And also, like, I can imagine if I was like, and anytime I do go for a long drive, bro, when I say long drive, it's like if I have to go to East London from West London, I'm like, right, which drive-through is on the way? Like, where am I something? Because I need to be stuck just to get through the journey. So, have you experienced that? Did you put on weight when you're driving? And also, driving hacks in general, just to pass time and general driving hacks?
Yeah, well, the weight thing, it's a known fact. Like, everyone who's driving a chauffeur, whatever, you're going to put on a lot of weight. But I feel like with the lorry, it's different because with the chauffeur, it's not just driving. You got to go in, meet and greet the customer, get the baggage, bring it back. And there's other stuff you got to do for the customers when you're chauffeuring. So it's not just driving. And the hacks is, honestly, I started listening to podcasts. That was my hack. When I put the podcast in, and if it's interesting, there's one called Freshly Grounded. When I started listening to them, like, it's an hour podcast minimum, so your journey goes quick. When you're entertained, because that's the only way you can be entertained, you plug in AirPods and podcasts. AirPods the hack. You need AirPods.
Wait, wouldn't just listen to it through the car speaker, or is it because the customers in the back?
I also imagine that you guys have guys are blasting a podcast.
I thought you meant on the way to get them or something. You
But you know what?
That's when they're in the car.
Even then, I have the option. I prefer AirPods anyway. Like, I could be on my own in the car. I just still want the AirPods.
Is that legal?
AirPods?
Yeah.
While you're driving to listen to something,
AirPods.
Yeah.
It's like listening to the radio, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's like listening to having a phone call.
Yeah,
but aren't you limiting the surrounding sounds you can hear? Unless you put the transparency mode on.
I'm not doing this from a safety perspective. From a safety perspective, it's a horrible idea.
No, but you got one in the one ear in.
You got to immerse yourself. I want a podcaster to be whispering in my ear. But you're right. It's probably not the most safe thing to do.
Yeah. No, but transparency mode.
Yeah, that helps you hear all the surroundings. That's the whole point of it.
Me having the second newest AirPods helps because it's like it's not that total noise cancellation.
Fine.
I can still hear like screeching car tires.
Fine.
But there was a news story recently. I imagine it happens often. Someone was on a motorway, and their what's it called? Cruise control failed.
Oh yeah.
And they got stuck on like they were doing like whatever 80 miles an hour.
I use cruise control all the time.
And police managed to stop them.
I heard what you have to do if you're cruise control, you take your handbrake on and off.
Oh my day, that sounds what?
Yeah, you have to like get your handbrake. It's your only option at that point, and you have to go put it up, put it down, put it up, put it down.
That's mad dangerous, bro. If you're doing 80 miles an hour, that flip the car, no?
Listen, if you're experienced,
it's a simple handbrake turn, isn't it? At that point,
yeah, exactly.
Turning where we don't know,
but that speaking about safety, bro. Like I was thinking, we're putting together the event for Freshly Grounded, and we those are the kind of things you have to think about. Is like safety, and so with our volunteers, I remember if I was managing a volunteer, I was saying to him like, we need to have someone on the sister side who's at least a first aider, and someone on the brother side that's at least a first aider. I say at least because for the last all of the Freshly Grounded events I can remember, we had a sister volunteer who was a paramedic. And you know when you have a paramedic on your team, you just feel at ease. I mean, not that anything's going to happen, but you have to be responsible, right? Because you're essentially responsible for like 400 people that's sitting down, or 700 or 1,000 people, and then you're responsible for all your 30 staff and things like that. And so when we did the Iman Long-Term, light upon light events, there was someone on the team that was a paramedic. Riz, such a sick guy. He toured with us everywhere we went, and almost every event. Almost every tour, I got some kind of like sickness or illness and stuff like that.
Really?
I remember one time, like I was meant to be on stage and I was still at the hotel and I was like not in a good way, bro. And I was like, Riz, I cannot make the stage.
Really?
Yeah, and they had to cover me for then, and then someone came and got me, and I like pulled myself together, like doused myself in like meds, and I was like on stage and just like getting through the event and stuff, man.
Wow.
But a first aid for that, I mean, that was just like. But in general, first aid is a must, man. A first aider is a must on these events.
Interesting.
So if you are a first aider or ideally a paramedic, then please do apply to be a volunteer at Freshly Grounded event because we will really benefit from you.
Yeah.
We'll really benefit with the stunts that we're pulling off at the show.
You know what I mean?
We're gonna need you.
Yeah. That zipline thing.
But it's so important. I feel like it's so important to like know first aid. Oh, look, do you know what, bro? Because he's never in a podcast. Let's bring this guy.
Bring him on. Come sit down.
Come and take a seat with Gibran.
Come on down.
Oh, he has a meeting. Typical excuse.
I use my presenter voice to do that.
Yeah.
All right. I was going to say, first aid. Okay, two things. One, great business idea. we're a first aid agency for all your events coming up, right? So like,
I'm sure that exists.
Must exist, isn't it?
Yeah, must exist. But I mean, still a good idea. No, it's still a good idea.
Yeah, they could do that.
He shut that down so quickly.
What's that?
He shut it down so
Yeah,
quickly.
that
It exists.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's not
What
saturated.
about
market.
this? First aid training, but for robots.
Specifically for the linesman at the Wimbledon. Those guys. Have you ever had to administer first aid yourself, or like have you ever been in a situation where like someone's
No, but my mum has. So she at a restaurant, somebody was choking, and she helped them choke. Either that's a true story, or for some reason that's in my head, and it's like I'm pretty sure it's a true story.
she burst through the bricks?
I Basil, refreshing grounded mother, and I can say, no, I'm pretty sure my mum saved.
Really?
But my mum, along the way, she's heroic, man. She's. I remember a few things in my life. One, I think that she did do that. Another thing I remember her doing. Once is when we were little, there was like two brothers. There was basically at middle of the night, not middle of the night, but because we were awake, it was late, and she basically got home. Sorry, we heard outside the house like two guys like really loudly fighting, and so we were like, "What's happening?" And we could see it was like two Asian boys. By the way, this was still when we were young, where like there wasn't really risk of like knives and stuff like that. I was on at that time, and it was like I suppose like this mentality of like it takes a village to raise a boy, and so there's two guys fighting, and my mum went out there and she goes, "What's going on?" And then one of the guys was like, "Oh, auntie, like I think like maybe like he caught his brother, I don't know, like smoking or doing something, and he's like just like laying into his younger brother." And my mum was like, "That's no way to treat your younger brother." Bro, by the end of it, my mum like straightened them both out.
Yeah.
They both like apologized and like so like she's got a lot of like she has a lot of, I don't know what the word is, but it's very inspiring. Like seeing her, like she doesn't involve herself in things necessarily. I know that sounds like she does, but in the right time, she makes the right decisions. Do you know what I mean? And she's like, I've seen her like save a lot of people in that kind of sense. And one time we were on holiday, and like there was like this guy, and he was like about to like lay his head down or something, and she could see, and there was like this huge creature. It could have been poisonous, bro.
That's Australia.
Yeah. And bro, my mum just paced down there, and like, she didn't have time to tell the guy what was happening, and she just whacked this thing.
I thought you were saying to whack him in the face.
No, and then my mum told like the guy's wife, like, because all of a sudden everyone was like, oh, and she's like, oh, like, and they were like so grateful. They're like, thank you. Like, she basically, the point is, she had this ability to think on, fight or flight.
Yeah.
She fights.
Yeah, I'm not bad.
I'm a flight guy. Yeah, like I knew I was a flight guy when one time my young nephew was crossing the road in London, and there was a car coming, and me and my older brother were there, and here's what happened. Omar, like the right thing anyone should do, ran towards my nephew to like save him. I went,
At least you didn't run. You stayed to...
like the car.
Yeah.
But like the first thing was, it wasn't because I don't think it was because I was, it was flight. I think the thing was like, what's the most use I can make right now? Like, quickly impact the thing. Like if I at least make him aware that there's a car, it's like he quickly does that. I'm not going to make it there. So the two I think helped. Like me screaming car and Omar running towards him.
Good teamwork.
Yeah.
That's funny, man. Well, hopefully he's all right.
Yeah, he's completely fine. Yeah.
I had a
bad
recent,
drivers on the roads, man.
Yeah, I had a recent incident where my wife's relatives were visiting us.
Okay.
I went to a restaurant, and like one of their relatives were there, and she started choking. She's like an old lady. And she started choking on like something, there was like chicken or something like that. And like at first it was like a bit of coughing, and we thought nothing of it. But then she went red. She's like coughing, and like you could see she wasn't breathing properly. And like the man of that, so I was kind of sitting at the end of the table, and she was like over there, and the guy who was like the head of their household was between us. So he jumped up and just gave her a Heimlich maneuver, which is the first time I've ever seen anyone give a Heimlich maneuver in real life, like mean it.
And it worked.
It worked, alhamdulillah. But it was 10, bro.
I've never done that, bro.
That sort of 10 seconds of realizing, oh, she's genuinely choking. She's almost going purple.
Oh man.
And like it getting to the end of the Heimlich maneuver, it was like tense, bro.
I think it's like, is it like you carve your things out?
Yeah.
But I've seen a video where it says like you go in, but you go up.
Yeah, it's like a
So
J
like
motion.
Yeah.
You got to go up.
Oh
bit.
man.
That's yeah.
Do you know what? You need to know these things.
Yeah.
You see survival things, you need to know.
That's why I watch Bear Grylls.
yeah.
You should watch Bear Grylls.
There's like
But
some shirts
sometimes-
like Bear Grylls.
I like bushcraft stuff. It's like, if you're in the middle of the wilderness, how can I use this dead snake to survive?
Yeah.
Can I use this dead snake as a water bottle?
Yeah. Yeah, bro, you need to know
mean-
these things.
Yeah. Yeah, listen, I'm surprised you don't know that. Live in Australia.
I wonder if we could
You
go.
never seen that Bear Grylls episode where he like, is it a snake? Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure he did this. Oh, so one time he slept in a camel.
In a camel.
He slept in a camel.
Oh, so the camel's dead.
Camel's dead. Yeah. He gutted the camel.
And he slept in it.
He
Oh,
was,
I think
he was
I've
in
seen that.
Do you think he does these things for like?
yeah, a
Yeah,
little
okay,
bit.
fine.
But it's also to show you.
But
like,
it is to show you how to
worst
do it.
case.
Yeah.
Because I think he was in the desert somewhere, maybe Sahara, and at night it gets freezing.
Okay.
Right. So it's like just you have to do this to stay warm, otherwise you'll freeze to death overnight. So he literally cut open the camel, got in its like rib cage and slept in it. Apparently, but he showed you how to do it.
What?
So it's that. Well, I'm sure he killed a snake and used it as a water canister. What? I'm pretty sure. Could be wrong, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I think because we've moved on so much as a society, as a people,
Yeah.
this day and age's versions of that is like you should know how to change a car tire, change a car battery, things like that, jumpstart a car.
I take it a step further, because Allah forbid, is this ever like some sort of like solar flares, things like that, where it takes out the whole grid of the world.
Which, by the way, is actually not predicted, but it's like,
happen.
isn't it one of the things that we're told? Fawaz was telling me recently about a hadith or something where it mentions that the world will go back to like.
Allah knows best. It's possible. Allah knows
Yeah.
best. But yeah, that's kind of what I think about sometimes. Like,
Fine, if you have no resources, what to do?
yeah, if everything
fine.
goes,
Fine.
what's like, where'd you get water? How'd you get water? How'd you do this? Where'd you get food from?
But a good step right now for day to day for how we live now is like, what do you do if your car breaks down, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's useful to know for sure. I think the whole changing the tire thing, I've lost that knowledge.
No, but that's because you live in Dubai.
Yeah.
But there is a thing of if you're in the UK and you get stuck, I don't know, in the countryside and you can't see anyone, you should probably know, and you haven't got any service, you should probably know like what to do.
Yeah, you should.
Those kind of things. Or if you visit, even as little as if you're visiting another country, you should know the emergency numbers and stuff like that.
Yeah. I do that kind of thing. I do take seriously.
Yeah.
I'll get those numbers down and stuff. I know where the embassies are.
Oh, really?
I can't get to them.
Yeah.
But I just know
Well,
where
that's
they
good.
are.
I never thought, you got another text from FTA,
Oh,
bro.
that's scary, isn't
No,
it?
2 in a
Why
row
not
is.
two? No,
oh my
that's
gosh, I
scary.
got one as well.
Don't scare me like that.
Reminder.
Yeah.
Another one. They double sent it.
Phew.
Yeah.
Put it out for another 4 months.
Reminder. Kaya, Ismail, we can see you open the message.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
mad.
Okay. All right, guys. I have to go pick up my kids from school for the penultimate time this year. This.
Wow.
I was about to say this financial year. This academic year.
It's tax year.
The penultimate time this academic year, I have to pick up my children from school. Today we took presents for the teachers. It was really funny
What
because
presents
I don't know, my wife sorted it. She just gave me the
Yeah.
task of handing the bags.
Yeah.
But there was one teacher called there's a teacher called Miss Sarah, and there was another teacher, and I said to Khalil, give this bag to the other teacher, and he gave it to Miss Sarah.
Okay.
And so she was like, oh, thank you so much. I was like, oh no, Khalil, that's not for Miss
Yeah.
Sarah. And then she was like, oh, okay, like, thank you, I guess. For like the other teacher, I was like,
Yeah.
no, we do have a present for you. Is that what you're
Yeah.
putting? But a minute it seemed like we didn't have a present for her.
That's
So
funny.
we did.
Is Miss Lisa still there?
Yeah.
Remember her?
Yeah.
My daughter really liked her.
Did she?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's there. But now that's it. My kids are done at that school now.
It's gonna be
fine.
It was quite sad when I stopped going there.
Is it?
It's nice, even though it's far away.
Yeah.
It's nice, man. And one thing I miss is the adnoc right next to it.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to being done with that school now, just because it's
Yeah.
a bit far from the house.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. And then now my kids will join your daughter,
Inshallah.
inshallah, but not in the same class.
No, but they see each other. Like she sees younger kids,
Or will they be in the same building?
same building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they won't see Khalil because Khalil will be in a different building.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe Zakaria.
Yes, that's from September, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
Actually, August. It starts like last.
Oh
week of
yeah,
August.
end of August. Yeah. Still got to do sort all my checks out and stuff.
Yeah.
Have you paid for this year?
Not. I paid some of it.
Okay.
They ask for a deposit, don't they?
Oh yeah, I did the deposit as well.
Yeah.
The deposit was what, 2,000 dirhams?
Yeah.
Yeah, I done that.
Yeah.
But I have to do the checks and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Muchos gracias.
Wow,
Danke.
German. Oh,
No, muchos gracias is obviously
French.
Spanish. Then you got grazie, which is Italian. You got danke, which is German.
Okay.
You got merci, which is French.
Okay.
You got shukran or mashkour, which is Arabic. How do you say thank you?
Yeah, shukran.
Shukran. You got
Australian? Teşekkür ederim in Turkish.
there you go to go again. You got
Yeah, close enough.
yeah, you got
Urdu, how you say Urdu?
Urdu. You'd say, gosh,
Cheers, mate.
yeah, you'd say shukriya.
Okay.
So similar to shukran.
Yeah.
And you got
Oh, Swahili, of course.
yeah, I don't know.
Oh.
That's what I know.
Fine.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. See you next episode. Assalamu alaikum.
Thanks, Sam.
So.
Salam.